My name is Maurice Washington. I want to welcome everybody to another episode of Executive Talk. Those that are watching live and those that are listening later on our podcast, thank you so much for joining us. In today's segment, we're going to talk about what is retirement planning. With me today to talk about this is Kerri Farren. She's an investment advisor representative. So without further ado, let's go ahead and bring her to the stage. How you doing, Kerri?
I'm doing marvelous today. The weather is beautiful. It's summertime and I love it. So how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'll take on your vibe.
Okay, good.
How's this year been so far as talking finances, and are you I can only imagine that the constant conversation and everything that you're having is all about retirement at some point, right?
Mm-hmm. It is. I was just thinking yesterday, I'm counting the people that I'm talking to, just meeting or talking to that I meet in line at the store or something like that, just graduate people. And a lot of them are saying it's too expensive. Things are going up. I'm stressed about it. They're enjoying their life, but people are always talking about what's happening right now.
That's right. That's right. Well, let's put some perspective around that and get started with today's conversation, because again, this is very important. So let's just go right into what is retirement planning. Because ultimately there's something, what's behind the retirement portion is a planning part. And I think that is the biggest portion of retirement is the planning portion of it. And explain to us the new mindset we should actually come into the show with.
So the mindset, what I want people to kind of think about is where they're standing now with their finances, where they want to be in the future, and how to get there. I know a lot of people are questioning it all the time with all of these things happening in this country right now. So there are a lot of questions on it, and I want people to kind of think about where they are now and where they want to be, and we can help you with that.
That's fair. And to put some perspective in regards to it, let's talk about where retirement planning or this retirement came from. And right now we have the American flag. And so break down to us these bullet points that you provided for us here, Kerri.
Yeah, so right now, what people are looking for are exciting things. And I can explain all of it. It's been through my life too. So, the first one's home ownership. People want that dream house. They love it. And a lot of people are getting them. They're excited as they grow, getting out of the younger age. They start seeing these things about home ownership, the love of that, wonderful, a career, what they're looking for. Go to school and then get something that you like to do. People love to do that. They want to also see that with a kind of job that has a financial security. So they're looking for things that they believe they can grow in, and they find those places. They continue to grow, get raises, get new jobs as you go up, and they really focus on that, which brings on your freedom and independence with those wonderful jobs or the entrepreneur things that they're doing today. They're able to get the money that they want, being happy, being able to have that freedom and independence, which also brings you down to the community and social connection, legacy and generational progress, and personal fulfillment and happiness. And all these things together, people dream about them at any age. And a lot of it happens because they really focus on it, and it's exciting.
Sure. And this is, ultimately, to put it in perspective, this is ultimately the American dream. So Americans are operating every last one of these bullet points that you laid out for us is part of the American dream as to what you would like to aspire at in your adult years, right? And retirement is one of the biggest components. Is once you do all these things, retirement is one of those blissful moments of freedom and do what you want to do, right? That's really the ultimate goal.
Mm-hmm. It really is. And I watch people do that. I've met many people in the past that have retired at 55, have worked, well, have the money and retiring at 55, and you have another 30 years to be able to do what you want to do. That's what people are really focused on, is something to get them there quicker, but enjoy what you're doing in the process, and then be able to have that freedom once you retire. And people, they're always looking at that, and they're focusing and seeing it and enjoying very much what their future is going to look like.
I like it. All right. So then let's put this in perspective. So we have common visions for financial futures. You have financial security, early retirement, comfortable retirement, generational wealth, debt freedom, entrepreneurship, financial independence, and also sustainable finances. what sticks out to you? What's the important value of these statements here?
So these again are the visions of these people, like we just talked about, of what they want to see in the future, where they are now. And it kind of goes back to the first slide that they're looking at, financial security. They want to be able to have the money and not worry about it when they retire, to just grow and do what they want. And that goes back to the early retirement that I've spoke with people about. And they really focus on that. Comfortable retirement. You either want to stay home and play with your grandkids and do things like that, or you want to be able to go on all these trips and enjoy family events away from home. So you really want to have a comfortable retirement to be able to do what you want to do. That comes with generational wealth. A lot of families want to be able to save their money so that they can hand it down to their kids, so that they can go through the same exciting things. You know, it's just going down that list is just people, that's what they're seeing, and they're happy about it and comfortable.
Yes, yes. Okay, and this is good, because this is, for those that are watching, this is exactly how the mindset works when it comes to retirement. These are all the thoughts, these are all the dreams. It's almost like the bubble on top of your head, and things that you're sacrificing for today that keeps you interested in your job, because you're like, okay, well, you know, I have a few more years, I'm able to retire, so I'll keep pressing through. So these are some of the visions, and I like where you're going with this. In this statement here, you have things that happen during the pursuit of retirement, and I feel like these are the bubble, the things that pop that bubble almost. So talk to us a little bit about how this plays a part in the retirement planning.
So things that happen during this pursuit of retirement, as it says, as we go along, we just talked about all the fun things that people want to do. They look into the future and just get excited, you know, of planning. And they have this plan. It's all set. However, things come up. A lot of unexpected expenses. Something can happen to your house, something to your car, something with family, something like that unexpected can come up that wasn't planned for. Job loss income. I just had a client that the husband lost his job, and all of a sudden that totally changed the income view and what they were going to do. Market volatility. Everybody's looking at the market, especially the fluctuating market right now during president election time. And they're really worried about that. They're watching that, and they know that that can change their retirement plan. Changes in family circumstances. Divorce. Don't want to talk about that, but things like that happen. Inflation and cost of living increases. I live up in Fort Collins here, Colorado, and it is increasing by 120% on the costs of homes. So that's scaring people. I've talked to a lot of people there that they want to leave because they have to. You know, health issues, economic downturns, poor financial decisions, because sometimes people will talk to who they know in the family that have no idea about financial stuff, but they'll talk to them before they'll talk to a financial advisor and listen to what they have to say. So This is all the things that can start popping up as you're looking into the future. You're not seeing these other things that can have a big cost on that.
That is true. And here's a key point. Whenever you have a vision, and what I've learned is you never think what's going to happen or what's going to go wrong. Like, for example, when you get married or when you have kids, you don't get married and say, wow, it's about to be horrible in the next 5 years. I cannot wait for this, and we're going to fight through it, and we're going to come on the other side. You don't have those conversations, do you? When you have kids, you don't have kids thinking, well, my kid's going to be sick and I might lose my job and I don't know what I'm going to do. You don't ever picture that in this vision bubble. It's always going to be peaches and cream. It's always going to be amazing. But these are the things that are right there in the middle that change the whole course of that planning portion of the destination of retirement.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, they get so happy at the very beginning. Everything's just a lovely family. We have a new baby. I have a friend that just had their new baby. It's been a week ago. And of course, they're so dang excited, and that's all they talk about, which I would too. But for a while, you know, that's the main things they're doing is just enjoying the time, this and this, but they're not even yet looking at some things that could happen that could totally change the perspective right there.
And just even that, even in that situation, one of the words that you have brought up in the conversation is inflation. if you can take a moment just kind of to explain to us how deep of a hole, I guess, inflation is, because when you think about the finances, it's not like finances are increasing dramatically that are, outpacing the inflation that we're in. We're seeing inflation outpace the raises that people are receiving and the job opportunities. So talk to us a little bit further about how this inflation is taking away some of your savings, I guess.
Yeah, inflation, a lot of people talk about that too. They don't understand it. They don't understand why it's going up while their income is not. And people are stressing about that. They're seeing all these costs, even like taxes on their homes are going up. Things that you buy in stores are going up. All these prices they're seeing are going up, like I said before, the mortgage 121% in Fort Collins. These people aren't understanding it, and they're scared because their income isn't going up either. So this is when it comes to a time of, okay, with this income and this is the inflation and what I need to pay, we've got to figure out this gap.
Right.
And figure out, something that we can do with that. And that comes to different looks on your finances, different changes. So that's one thing people really need to think about.
I like it. Well, let's talk about this, because you brought up another interesting point to us, and that is the common mental frustrations while pursuing retirement. Take us down this list and tell us how you've seen, just in conversations that you've been working with people, how they've been playing a part and how they've shown up.
Yeah, this is a really good question. I'm glad you asked that, because this is one thing that is the scary part that I talk to people about. When I see my clients, I really want to talk about their dreams and goals, what they want first. But then we do have to hit some reality. And, so that happens. For instance, I see clients at ages 50, 51, they want to retire at 65, and they do not, it's just not going to happen. And I can't, it is what it is. And so what happens is this disappointment comes because all of a sudden those dreams disappear. Frustration because they don't know what to do. Like I said, there's that gap there and they don't know how to fill that in. Brings anxiety, stress, guilt, fear, all these things that are showing here. It's keeping people awake at night. It's causing sicknesses. It's causing depression. It's causing all of these things. And what it is they don't want to go ask for the help on this.
For sure.
They're hiding it. They're going into this big, nice house with a beautiful boat, but inside it is stressed so bad, and they don't want people to see that. And they don't know how to recover from that because it's more in their stress, in their mind, than really thinking about in their heart what they really need. And that's where the stress comes, and how you have to change that and start looking at things differently.
I can only imagine, Kerri, you sitting down with a client and really breaking down, which I think where a lot of people hesitate in sitting down with financial planners, is once you actually break down how much they really truly need in order to truly truly retire and do it comfortably, because that is a whole different statement. Because not only are you thinking about the middle part of your life, you also have to consider your health risk when you get older. And what that looks like, and how much money you need to sustain a lifestyle. And give us a couple of circumstances, because I think even with your father, I think that was, talk to us about that, because I've heard you talk about that before. How does that show up, I guess, for you personally?
Yeah, it's I was thinking of bringing that up, and I might get emotional on this because it's been a year tomorrow that I lost my father. So it is a good question, though, because this is, I want people to feel what these kind of things do. My dad and my mom both, they had a great retirement plan. It's a para here in Colorado. It's very much like a pension. And it's great income, steady income, but it does not grow as inflation does. So I wish that we would have known more back then. But as it went through, Dad was getting the same amount of money every month, and he wasn't looking into the future, and he was spending and having a great time. But then something happened, and we had to get him into a home. And with that income that he had, it just wasn't enough. And we had to go find different ways to find that income. And if people, as they're younger, even at age 18, you're not thinking about this, but let's go back in your life and think about what you've been doing those few years. What people really do need to think about, and they don't want to, is what the future is going to look like. And when that happened to my dad, I was like, I wish that I was doing what I'm doing and was able to help him 20 years ago.
Sure.
And something like that would have happened. I just also spoke to a person that I'm going to be talking to about his financial, and he's a younger person, but he doesn't believe like in the life insurance and stuff like that. Well, that will help him in the future. So he's not looking into other things that may happen that he's just really not looking at right now. And it's, it's difficult for that. And things happen and you have to live with it. But I want people to understand it in their head that there are problems out there, situations that people really need to sit down with someone and talk about so that we can get people to get over that wall that's holding them back.
For sure. And I want to bring this point up, and before we move on to the next slide, because you're hitting on something extremely well, is that right now, in between the time, especially your younger years, it seems like you're the most impervious to problems, meaning that they could be there, but you don't think they'll happen to you. Mm-hmm. And so it's one of those things of you get caught up in this freedom bubble where you're just free, you got your money, you want to go do what you want to do. And it's almost, I don't know what I think that's that midlife crisis where you finally start thinking, mm-hmm. like, wow, this could actually happen. Wow, I'm not impervious to things happening to me. And so I think that switch does go off. Have you seen like a common age that you see a lot of people turn on, or that switch turns on?
With the people I've been looking at, it's about the mid-40s. So even in the 30s, they still feel I got a long time to live. My job's going to go forever. They're not quite worried about it. But once they get 45, getting into their 50s, and they're looking at what they have, that's where it starts. Stress starts, and they're looking back at their life. And, I am going to give myself as an example. I did the first 10, 15 years after I got out, I just thought life was great. I had this wonderful 401k at this business. I thought everything was set. That 401k, I think I was saving $60 a month. Woohoo! And I was told at that time that was going to be my life and I was going to be great at 55. So I didn't really think about it much till I got to the point of getting married, buying a house, doing all these things that was totally unexpected. But it was great, like we talked about before.
Yeah.
It was great getting that house. It was great paying those bills. It was great mowing that lawn because it's ours, But
that's right.
Then, with inflation and all this stuff coming up, it's totally changeable, and people start stressing out, start looking at their income.
That's right.
And it gets sad.
That's right. Well, let's go on to the next point here, because this one is just as important. So questions you need to start asking yourself. Well, and since we're on this point of, this particular age, it seems like we should start thinking about this stuff now. So what questions do you feel like people should really start honing in on now to start getting their mind prepared for this planning portion of retirement?
Yeah. So a lot of these questions are coming up about kind of like what people are looking at, have to ask these questions to themselves that they don't sit there and really think about it. I think couples need to get together, talk about what they are doing, and get together. And I'm going to give some examples of some of the questions that they need to think about. And it's more like, do they have a clear understanding of their current financial situation, including their income and expenses, which again, I didn't do when we bought our house. We really need to do that. Have I established that emergency fund? Instead of using a credit card to get my car fixed, we got to think here about how we're going to have that emergency fund in there. I'm just going down identity and self-worth. You really got to get down there and think about what's your short-term goals, your long-term goals, your future goals. You have to understand what your self-worth is going to be and ask those questions of where you want to be, how much you want to have, and what you think you're worth. So they're very good questions that you need to ask yourself. And these kind of things, reflecting on these questions and regularly revisiting them, can help you gain your clarity. And you really need to have these questions in mind so that you can sit down and talk and really see the value of your life and where you want to go.
Sure. Kerri, I want to, as you were talking, this was what came up to my mind is it seems like it's one of the hardest question for couples to have, or even for an individual to have with themselves. And it feels like it takes a deep level of integrity and honesty to really have this conversation and actually have it fruitful to expose the right direction as to where you need to make the change. When do you need to sit down with the financial planner, so on and so forth. But how big does integrity play a part into making financial decisions?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people have a hard time making those decisions because of that. And right while you were talking about that question, I was thinking of the kind of people that I go and talk to. That kind of reminds me of integrity. I go and I see the couple. The husband is back with his hands up, sitting there because he thinks he knows everything. But the woman is sitting there going, crap. we're in trouble. So
Yeah.
it's kind of way, looking at people like that on how they really need to sit down and think about it. And when I go and see people, after a while, I think the man kind of starts thinking about it. He gets a little more interested because he's like, yeah, we're having these problems, and I don't know what happens behind closed doors, but
you can only imagine,
do,
right? Yeah.
yeah. But we all do need to sit down and start looking at that, and start believing in the help that they can get, and not just believing they can do it themselves.
For sure. And this last point right here, I think this is important as well. What does planning look like? And that's the whole point of the show, is the planning portion of it. How do you get to the point of high level planning? What is the integrity shift that people need to have in order to really start planning and make the right decisions?
Mm-hmm. So this is one of the things. Once the person in charge gets back onto the table and squat this, you have to really start sitting down, and like, okay, what does my planning look like? We need to sit down, look at my financial situation, where we are now, where we need to be, and let's figure out what that gap is and how to do it. Beginning with creating a budget. A lot of people have no idea where their money is going, and I've sitting down with people that I've saved them like $200 a month that they had no idea where it was going. Explore other income opportunities by updating your resume and networking. Find another business that you like to do. Be an entrepreneur. Understand, other things that are out there that you can get into that will help get that planning look a little bit better with that income. And then, keep that positive mindset and seek professional help if needed. But I want to tell a story kind of maintaining a positive mindset. Was I work with Chris Felton. He is a very good mentor for me for 18 years, and I'm still here because of that. And the stories that he tells us on what has changed and how we can do it is, he got a divorce, oh no, it could have been 15 years ago, and he had the child care that he still had to pay for. He was $100,000 in debt, and his new wife was not happy about that. And he had to go and ask his wife to give him the money to pay his ex-wife for that. And once that happened and he got her purse thrown at him, that was it. He got into this mental thinking, went into it, and now today everything is out of debt, and he's let me, he told me I can tell this, but he's making about $1 million a year right now and saving that money because he got that mental attitude, positive, saw the change that he wanted, got excited about it, and now today all of his dreams are coming true. That's amazing. What people need to do.
It's amazing. Kerri, I know you're talking a lot about men and women and finances, and actually we're probably going to have that conversation here real soon. I can already see it happening. But let's go ahead and stick to the topic. When it comes to that shift of planning, is there a conversation that you notice between this husband and wife that can actually help? Because I know there's a lot of people out there that are watching this program from that perspective of, how can my husband and wife, how can we have that conversation, that mutual conversation? What is that piece that will help them start to head down the mutual conversation of going down the right road?
I think when I talk to people, what they need to do is look at their future, what they want, and how they can work together. If they have a really good relationship, then they have good communication and they want the same kind of goals. And they really just need to sit down and look at it. And I know it can be very easy. You're happily married, you're wanting to do things together, retire early. So just sit down and look at these things and understand. And something comes out of that. Once you start working with someone, you have the same goals, the same objectives, things start coming up and it starts working. And together they can make these things happen. So it's just communication with spouses, children, even their parents, just get the people that are important in your life on how to use that money to be able to live the life you want and send them down to your kids and grandkids if possible.
Sure. That's awesome. Well, Kerri, do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with the audience and help us, make this right transition?
And that's always a good question to ask, because at the end I can kind of give my input on, what we can do. I want people to start really thinking, sit down, think about where you are and where you want to be, like we've been talking about. And there are people that can help you with that. I'm one of them. I can sit down with you and help you make those goals. But that's one thing you really need to do. Be happy with the things you really want. Focus on your dreams. Then sit down and really look at how to get there and wonder how you can get over that stress, get the help. And then in the future, you're going to be able to have those things that you've been dreaming about back here. So keep that positive things in your mind and get the help to make sure you get there.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Kerri, for this information and addressing retirement. Everybody is always seeking retirement, but nobody really seems to talk about the planning portion of it. And I think that's really the main priority of this conversation, is to wrap our minds around the central part, is because that's where a lot of people are losing the opportunity on making the choice of retiring or not. So I really do appreciate just a high-end conversation to address it. So thank you so much. And we look forward to having you back next month and keep the conversations going.
All right. Thank you very much. It's fun working with you.
All right. See you next time.
All right.
All right. And for everybody else that's watching, I want to thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to watch Executive Talk, and most importantly, listen to Kerri and see what she has in store for you in regards to retirement planning. The priority here and the next step is to reach out to Kerri. Why? Because there's one major component in here is the planning portion. It's to take us to that next level, which is retirement. If that's a choice that you're looking to make sure that you understand that there's a middle part to this, that where you can make a lot of bad decisions. Not because you want to, it's just because sometimes you get caught up in the middle of life. And to have somebody such as Kerri to actually walk you down that path, to talk with quarterly, monthly, weekly, to help you get down the path to make sure that you're on track, is what this is all about. It does take a level of humbleness to sit down with a person like Kerri, to expose your finances, to expose where you are, but it will pay off in the long run to ensure that you get to the destination and you have the freedom. So when inflation does hit, you're not panicking. You can have a good, strong mindset around it and keep moving forward. But again, it's all about pressing forward. It's all about being successful in the decisions that you're making. And that's what we're here to do, is provide that type of information with what Kerri has for us. And again, as always, I want to thank her for what she does for the marketplace. But in the meantime, her and we actually have to get back to work. So we'll see you next time. Have a good day.